This is Mark Bell from Super Training Gym. Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. Here I am banging out some speed work. I did 10 sets of 3 on this day with 225 pounds of bar weight and 80 pounds of chains. I got 2 chains per side. Each chain is about 20 pounds. Here goes chubby little John. He did like 15 or 20 sets. I don't know what he was doing on this day. He was going crazy. He just would not stop lifting. We get our programming for Super Training Gym from our buddy Jesse Burdick, and a lot of times that's what almost the entire team follows, a lot of the stuff from Jesse Burdick, and occasionally I'll just jump in and start doing what's programmed by my boy Jesse as well. I started to work up after I did the 10 sets of 3. I handled 275 for a triple, 315 for a single, and then 365 for a single, and then I added on a slingshot, which you'll see in a minute. This is Brandon Sullivan, the Sullivan brothers, 2 badass dudes that are still training with some heavy weights at Super Training Gym. You may not see people smashing big weights at Super Training as much as you used to in the past, but people are still doing it. There's a 645-pound squat done very easily. Those guys are getting some coaching advice from my longtime buddy Josh Bryant, who does some of the gas station strong stuff. He's got a lot of great content. He trains Julius Maddox, the strongest bench presser of all time. And here I go for 365 pounds. Now, chubby little John and his fat little fingers mess this one up, so all you see is the weight being pressed up, and it looks like we did something cheap there. It looks like we did some sort of fake camera trick to show you guys that I was able to lift the weight, but I actually did lift the weight by myself, even though it was fake plates. Here goes Brandon again, getting ready to smash on 675 pounds, and just watch the stability. This guy puts in his time. He puts in a lot of effort. Both the Sullivan brothers are in the gym for hours on end, it seems like, making sure they get in all the work that they need. If you want to be strong, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take years and years of training. It takes a minimum of a decade to be even halfway decent at powerlifting, in my opinion. And on top of it, you need to have some long training sessions, and that's what these guys do. They're not afraid of it. If you want to be good, it will take a little bit, but if you want to be great, it's going to take every single thing that you got and then some. Here I am loading up with 405. I got my slingshot on. If you want to check out slingshot products, go to markbellslingshot.com. I have our new gangster wraps on, the white wrist wraps. I have our new strong elbow sleeves on that are also in camo. None of that stuff's available quite yet, but it will be available pretty soon. Enjoy the rest of the video. Yummy. Got some steak, got some egg whites, and look who's excited about it. My little doggy. Gonna be delicious. The reason for the egg whites, again, just lowering fat content just for a few days. Still eating steak. Utilizing a little bit of intermittent fasting. Try to lean out a little bit over the next couple of days. It's just for a few days. So those of you that want to follow along with me, cut back on your butter, cut back on your cheese, cut back on your sausage, cut back on your bacon. Just make small, some small changes. Maybe get a little leaner meats and stuff and just see how you're reacting to it. If you're new to the diet, this is not a great idea to do. If you're brand new to the diet, it's not a great idea. If you're used to the diet and you're already feeling good, then it might be good to give this a shot if you want to accelerate fat loss for a few days. I wouldn't recommend doing this longer than just like a week. And I don't mean to cut out fat, just to cut it back. Fat is still good. Fat is still your friend. I am a proponent of, believing that, a lot of what is talked about in fitness community and in nutrition, people say this is good and this is bad, and people say, there is no bad, it's only what you make of it. There is no bad, it's just how you look at it, and it's and it's dose dependent and those kinds of things. I agree with that to a certain extent, but for some individuals, I would say that sweets are bad. I would say that crunchy stuff is bad. And the reason is because many individuals really have a hard time and really suffer greatly with an addiction to some of these foods. So that's where I would just say, look, it's bad. It ain't good. It's bad. For other people, and this is a big issue with nutrition in general, is that it's up for interpretation. And what Lane Norton says is going to be interpreted differently by me versus how it's interpreted by you. What Sean Baker says is going to be interpreted differently by all the thousands of people he impacts and affects. What I say is going to be interpreted differently, and it's something to try to make sense of it all. No one in the history of mankind has ever been able to make anyone interpret a message only the way that the message was intended to go out. That has never happened, and it never will. It's never happened with the Bible. It's never happened with anything. Never happened with any book. It's never happened with any transcript. It's never happened with any policy. It's never happened with any law. It's never happened with any society. It's never happened with any civilization. It's never happened from a person. It's never happened from person to person. It's never happened from a parent to a child, from a child to a parent. It's never happened, and it never will happen. And it's important to know that. It's important to understand that. It doesn't mean we give up. It just means that we continue to try to figure out different ways to share our views and to share our experiences with one another, with each other, and try to be positive, because the negative, challenging stuff is great. And saying, hey, you know what, I thought this was more true. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Challenging stuff is great because it's how we advance knowledge. But just shooting stuff down and just being negative is something that we all have to be careful of. I have to do a better job personally. So I'm working on some of that. Anyway, sitting here eating some egg whites and some steak, really the first food of the day. I had 2 protein shakes today, ran almost 3.5 miles today, walk 3.5 miles, and got in a great benching session. Really got in there and got after some weights. And we had some other people in there tearing up the gym too. Eating some more steak. This will probably be the last meal of the day. All right, yet another day in the books. Hey, what is this thing, by the way? This little thing? Why does that happen on these phones? You ever notice that when you try to take a picture or a video? It's like a little beam of light. Have it burn my eyeball out. Let me see. Like that. What is that? Anyway, getting ready for nighty nights. And tomorrow I have Cal Dietz coming into the gym. If you don't know who he is, you're going to find out tomorrow. In addition to that, I got my longtime BFF, my big fat friend forever, or maybe BFFF, something like that. Jesse Burdick, he'll be coming in to Super Training Gym tomorrow. Cal Dietz is a guy that does a lot of, first of all, he's a strength conditioning coach, but he does a lot of rehab type work. And he's going to show us, how to rehabilitate, knees and shoulders and hips and all these different things. He's got a lot of great techniques. He has something called the trifastic technique. And if you're somebody that's interested in, wanting to learn how to heal the body, then I would suggest that you check him out on Instagram. His name's Cal Dietz. He'll be in tomorrow. We'll be podcasting with him and creating a tremendous amount of content with him tomorrow. That'll be awesome. And also, I am going to be shifting the title of this Carnivore 100, since some of you guys are such a bunch of maniacs that you get upset if I have anything different than a piece of meat. I'm just going to be calling this Mark Bell's meat-based something or other. So at some point I'll change it. I don't know if this one might have a number to it or whatever, or this one might have the same title, but eventually it'll get switched. It'll get changed. Anyway, thank you guys so much for following along. Appreciate it as always. Let me know how you're doing with the diet. Let me know how you're doing with this meat-based diet. Let me know how it's going for you in the comments below. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never a strength. Catch you all later. Bye.